friends. Harvey Michaels here. Welcome back to our wild ride with Danshui President Plunge Spear Bloom, a story that had me on the edge of my seat while writing it. I'm excited to share a taste with you today. If you're new here, go ahead and tap that like button and subscribe. You won't want to miss what's coming next. All right, let's jump in.
Chapter 9, Part 2. Sunday morning, Police Brass. 3 of the most powerful policemen in Taiwan gather in Commissioner Ao's office. The commissioner's office was expansive and plush, legendary in police circles. There is the Wall of Fame, photos with the well-known and well-liked commissioner and other ranking police, or with politicians or celebrities. There are some photos without him, and some of those pictures are historic and would be welcome in museums. Many pictures are personal, pictures of family, or those taken by the commissioner himself. All are exquisitely framed. Photographs covered a quarter of the office wall space. Another quarter, one complete wall, is a gorgeous Aboriginal tapestry. Whether that was a statement, since the commissioner is half Aboriginal himself, no one knew or cared one way or the other, but insiders somehow always brought it up. His predecessor died and left an expensive 3-hole sloped putting green machine, essentially an expensive miniature golf toy. The new commissioner left it there, though he apparently never used it himself except as a conversation piece. The commissioner's pride and joy is a massive relief map on the wall near the door with beautiful colors and details of mainland Taiwan. Every day for years he stared at that map to think, and he often boasts to visitors that he can visualize every detail of the map with his eyes closed. Commissioner Ao's secretary brings in mugs of the commissioner's prized oolong tea as the meeting begins, placing them in front of each man. She leaves without saying anything and closes the door. No one states the gratitude they feel because the commissioner frowned on showing polite ceremony when it was time to get down to business. For this reason, the commissioner's secretary was the beneficiary of multiple fine gifts and kindnesses shown to her by more than a few police and government officials to make up for such moments. Everyone takes a few sips of the fragrant and potently brewed tea. Each man is already in high spirits without the perfect tea that each of the men loves to drink on such occasions. "This works out ideally for us," Colonel Shen starts the discussion. "Ideally," the commissioner agrees. Thin-faced, white-haired Deputy Commissioner Liu nods. Normally, half of Liu's communication conveyed in their meetings consisted of hand gesturing or single-syllable grunts, sighs, or simple yes or no responses. Outside the meetings, he presented an entirely different persona. Indisputably brilliant, a talented politician and schmoozer, he and his capable staff head 4 departments that run like clockwork under the Deputy Commissioner's leadership. Outside of these meetings, Deputy Commissioner Liu is a bureaucrat of bureaucrats, able to figure the nuances and red tape for taking quick action or for stalling and throwing up a smokescreen, whatever was needed. But these meetings were for decision-making, and if his views were clearly known, that was enough for the Deputy Commissioner, and that he was on the same page and on their side was good enough for them. No one has to spell out what they are cryptically alluding to. It was the reason for the meeting. Over the last 6 months, They held a number of less mirthful meetings for the same reason as this one today. Since the time they decided new Taipei City Police Department required a new intelligence division with a high-powered, fresh, virile, fearless vice commissioner to be a trailblazer for their new and glorious future. Such a leader would need to have all those attributes to bring about difficult transformations this insider group envisioned. Until now, they had no acceptable candidates to fill that position. Suddenly, the path seemed wide open, where it looked like a jungle of resistance just last week. Now they can use subtle but direct, secret, scheduled stages for their agenda. These powerful men will hold nothing back, briefing and grooming their choice for the powerful position. The hero of Guandu Bridge, the hero on the Danshui seawall, the hero at the fish chopper, Paul Hu. No one in the police rank and file would oppose Paul Hu's earned leadership because he earned it the old-fashioned way, getting pounded in multiple rescuing battles. He was the ultimate stereotypical Chinese hero. Just like many cultural Chinese heroes, Paul Hu not only achieved fantastic claims to fame, but his character was more than spotless. It was inspirational. It was worthy to sacrifice for. Inertia would not let us do this without paying expensive bureaucratic favors up and down the ladder, holding back our chances for a good start. Colonel Sun thinks out loud without hiding the big grin on his face. Yes, but we were willing to do it any way we had to. It was too important to get moving. Commissioner Ao takes a long inhaling smell of his tea before slurping a small sip. Now we have what we need. The others turn, noting Deputy Commissioner Liu's 6-word sentence. In these meetings, that counted as a speech for him. Paul Hu is like a cop god. He's by far better than any face we could have come up with to lead the new division. Colonel Sun shifts in his seat, antsy, wondering what might go wrong. Will he go along with the plan? Will he jump ship? Commissioner Ao asks. Vice Commissioner Liu comments twice, first by turning his head and then by raising an eyebrow. Translation, I want to know, and that's an important question and a tricky one to answer. Yes, he will. The plan is correct. He will recognize the wisdom. He won't rebel. His loyalty is unquestionable and his integrity as well. Colonel Sun says it factually, not to persuade them. I've told you some of what happened in Taichung County 8 years ago. He took the fall alone, vilified. Everyone was against him, even his family. He sacrificed himself as the department's black sheep by informing on his superior, who was dangerously abusing his position for personal gain and later proved to be a psychopath, as you know. Then Officer Hu, breaking protocol to follow up and take decisive action, became an unheralded hero. They all pause and nod, then reach for their tea. Commissioner Ao harumphs before he speaks. He's too poor. He has a growing family. His needs outweigh his resources too much. They hesitate before commenting. Everyone who knows the commissioner knows he always appreciates, if not demands, a thoughtful pause before answering him. I'll bet anything Wang Sanbao has plans to show his gratitude to Paul Hu, the colonel says, drinking a big swallow of his tea. Sometimes he gulped his tea to bother the others intentionally. For Colonel Sun, he thought it was part of his job to bother cops, because he thought cops should be imperturbable. At one time or other, he explained this philosophy to everyone who had the luck, good or bad, to spend time working with Colonel Sun. Gulping tea in this meeting was just one way he bothered police on purpose, and these two are used to it. Colonel Sun began chronicling highlights of his Friday and Saturday, beginning with the phone call to Dee and Willie on the freeway and the rest of Friday afternoon's roller coaster ride of explosive events. Saturday was a nail-biter and looked bleak until Willie sent the information dump from Kingfish's hacked laptop, which Willie held back until he knew certain answers. Then came the succession of discoveries and dramatic events. Finally, later Saturday, Dee and Willie, even Wang Sanbao, and finally Paul spoke with Colonel Sun in the middle of it all, in the heat of the crisis. All three men are on the edge of their seats, reliving this most incredible weekend. I have some questionably gained video footage I need to destroy. Sun piques their interest even higher. After I show it to you, that is. First, he shares how overjoyed he was at what Willie unearthed in Kingfish's laptop. It was a treasure trove of information, including the location of the Navy's missing C4 plastic explosive. Then, before playing video clips, he tells them he has phone records from the public phone Romeo called from. That junkie stood shaking at the phone booth, calling for his kill team, waiting longer than you can imagine for them to answer before triggering the delayed detonator on the boat. The skipper parked and took off only 10 minutes before Black Pearl blew up. That's all, 10 minutes. Colonel Sun shows them a series of scenes he arranged. First, cueing video from inside the cabin of Black Pearl in the peak of the super typhoon high seas, and 4 isolated frames of obliteration when she blows up, just docked in Sanjur. Their shock peaks higher, witnessing the half-minute mind-boggling spear assault Willie miraculously survived in 3 different camera views. Finally, he shows short video edits of the events that transpired in the fish chopper, beginning when Turtle Skipper came on the scene until Paul Hu finished off the last B-teamer. They silently watch the moments accelerate from when Dee hides in a crowd of barrels and Turtle Skipper makes noisy diversions until they killed each man. Only Romeo's death had no surveillance footage. Shun thinks out loud that in any other time in history, they would be thought of as gods to have such tech power, and how it is so necessary when their enemies are also like power-yielding gods. Colonel Sun leaves out his Saturday evening phone conversation with Paul Hu about Ahua and Coco as the medevac helicopters were arriving. Shun would never speak of the father and daughter, though the other 2 in the room know Colonel Sun is overseeing the process of creating new identities for them. Colonel Sun ceremoniously closes his laptop. It's too bad we can't share more of what Paul Hu did in that warehouse with the rest of the police force, but we can spin it in our favor, and there are plenty of acts of heroism in Paul's previous 24 hours before the fish chopper ending. Commissioner Ao tries to look sorry. Tough luck for him to get hurt, but his injuries help us more than a little bit too. We need this hero, one that cops can look up to for the next era of daunting changes to come. Colonel Sun stands up, claps his hands, and caps his narrative with body language. Remember when the evacuation helicopters came? How he took over? How he stood tall and showed emotion for the ones airlifted out without looking for a pinch of glory for Paul Hu? There's our leader. There's our man. Colonel Sun is worked up. Commissioner Ao thinks Shun's move looks like he's ready to punch a punching bag. To the vice commissioner, covering his mouth with one hand, their paunchy-built, middle-aged colleague appears to be trying out a street dance move. The plan was simple. Paul Hu would be named Deputy Commissioner of Police Intelligence, a meteoric rise with even greater heights in sight. The goal was to prepare him to step into the commissioner's seat within 2 or 3 years of grooming. Commissioner Ao had his own trajectory mapped out, intending to pivot toward public office as a mayoral candidate and perhaps one day the presidency. If Paul agrees, he would be the youngest commissioner in Taiwanese history, heading the intelligence division, a cornerstone of the force's future. The promotion came with a substantial salary increase and officers' dormitory privileges, a great place to raise a family, as they'd eagerly point out. But it all hinged on one thing, Paul saying yes.
And that's a wrap for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What stood out to you? If you're enjoying the journey, please share with a friend. It means the world to me. Want to hold the whole Danshui President Plunge adventure in your hand? It's waiting for you on Amazon. And if you do, please leave a quick review. Until next time, take care. I'll be right here ready for the next chapter. See you then.